While many printers have shifted their focus, Freeport Press has remained committed to the art of print. For companies that need a printing partner for magazines, look no further than Freeport Press. We offer the capabilities a customer would expect from a national printer while offering the level of customer service clients expect from a family-owned business. Freeport Press. We do print, and we do it well.
freeportpress.com.
I need to have control of everything because my mind is too crazy, too attracted to many different things of culture, of course. So I need, for my approach, multidisciplinary approach, I need some rules to control it because without it, it's chaos.
Orlando is the magazine as hotel, quite literally, and we'll explain what that means in a bit. It's a magazine that one can inhabit and live in, a love letter to culture in the most expansive use of the word. It's also very Italian, maybe because it comes from Italy, more specifically from the mind of Antonella Dellepiane Pescetto, who is Italian, but more importantly, she is someone with exquisite taste. And yes, the magazine is actually set up as a hotel. Just go to the table of contents and start to see how this concept works. Or visit the website, it's obvious there too. And the concept structures all various and sometimes disparate ideas that go into the making of Orlando. And if you visit the website, again, you'll find courses and tours and podcasts and a Spotify playlist to accompany each story and each issue, as well as a boutique. And you can sense the publishing plans as well, but mostly you'll find yourself in a charming confection of a magazine, kind of like something Wes Anderson might have come up with had he been Italian, which might work for you, it might not. Not everyone loves Wes Anderson, I know, but just like you know a Wes Anderson movie when you see or hear one, once you enter the hotel that is Orlando, you just do. And it's the kind of place you can get comfortable in very easily. My name is Arjun Basu, and you've just checked in to The Full Bleed. So, before we get into the magazine itself, let's learn a little bit about you. How did you get to this point? How did you start this project? What did you do before? Because you did a lot. I'm asking that because your bio is all over the place.
Thank you. I think maybe I've always been a very curious person. What have always moved me is art in its many forms. So my first true love was literature. I've been very shy since I was little. I used writing as my main way to express myself. So I didn't have to speak. So writing has always been the form of expression that felt most natural and immediate to me. I loved poetry at first, then epic novels like Les Miserables by Victor Hugo. And I've also been surrounded by music. So my father is a melomaniac, an opera lover, and I used to travel with him to attend operas as well as symphonic concerts. And theater has always felt like a very homey and safe place for me. I studied violin for 10 years and sang in the children's choir at La Bohème in Genoa, an experience I will treasure forever. And during our trips, my father would take me to theaters, museums, churches, and architectural sites. So that's why I studied modern literature, then contemporary art management in Venice, and eventually became a sommelier, because I also wanted to explore that field of culture, which I deeply appreciate. And choosing a career that could include every aspect of my passions was not easy. I always felt I needed, and still feel I need, to live many lives. One as a curator, one as a bookseller, one as a sommelier, or as a writer, and so on. Eventually, I moved to Milan to work on an exciting new project, a Japanese concept store. And there, I contributed in various ways. I wrote, for example, the restaurant's first wine list, which was very funny. And I helped selecting the books, magazine, and objects we would offer in the store. So there, we hosted a pop-up of Indie Magazine, and the idea of Orlando was born. So I tried to spend as much time as possible reading, discovering audacious layouts, or finding inspiration in fashion editorials. And I think it felt as if a whole new world was opening up in front of me, page after page. In that moment, I realized I wanted to start my own project and fill it with all my passion, none excluded, finally. I founded then my publishing company. I registered the magazine at the Register of Periodicals at the Court of Genoa, and began attending master classes on how to launch a proper magazine. So the one hosted by Jeremy Leslie in London was important. And I basically chose the name in homage to two literary heroes, Orlando Furioso by Ludovico Ariosto, published in the 16th century, and Orlando, of course, by Virginia Woolf. They both are nice, brave, bold, profound souls in perpetual in search of themselves.
And you
So,
mentioned your grandfather too on the website, that he was an engineer and then he earned another degree at 80. So this whole idea of reinvention or just curiosity and learning, it's obviously a family trait, and you have carried it on.
yeah, I think the most important thing my grandfather left us to all his family is that the hunger of knowledge never stops. So even if he was 80 years old, he wanted still to learning something new or deep in something he already studied in the past. But I'm like him in this way, so I want to learn as more things I can. So I think it's a family peculiarity.
So you're at this point, you're taking magazine classes, you want to do a magazine, and you've come on a name. Orlando's a beautiful magazine, but the unique thing that makes it absolutely different from probably any magazine in the world is that you've set it up as a hotel.
Yeah.
And it actually works. It sounds like a gimmick, and then you look at the magazine and you're like, okay, that actually works. And the metaphor of the hotel, or the structure of the hotel, allows you to do things, not just in print, but on the website as well, that suddenly feel very normal. So what came first, the idea of the magazine or the idea of the hotel, or were they happening at the same time?
I wanted to give my magazine a unique perspective and a truly distinctive structure, because there are so many beautiful magazines all around the world about arts and culture. So I wanted to make it different. I brainstormed for a very long time with all my family and close friends about what kind of framework have. And on a lazy Sunday, I remember with my husband, still without children, we were just chatting about it, and the hotel idea just popped up. And instantly I felt it was the perfect fit. It could host a restaurant, the library, the exhibition hall, the gym and spa, even the garage with space for my love of classic cars. I think the toughest part of creating the magazine, aside of from the economic aspect, of course, was finding the ideal graphic design, the ideal graphic studio, because I had in mind this whole concept of the hotel, but I needed to have the perfect aesthetics for it. So I tried, I think, 3 or 4 different graphic designers, but although they were very good, of course, we didn't click. The connection finally happened with Francesca Leoneschi, the art director of the World of Dot studio in Milan. And she and her collaborator Mauro immediately understood my vision, my concept, my visual universe. I think it is because we all share a common background, architecture, and naturally your imaginary hotel had to be conceived starting from architecture. And I think thanks to them, we built this imaginary hotel together, a place where readers can find a special room for themselves, quoting Virginia Woolf, and to escape daily frenzy, sleep into different rhythm, and embrace time for reflection and savor the beauty hidden in the finest details, always guided by our lobby boy, Mr. O.
I just find it conceptually charming, and I don't think it's something I've never said that about a magazine before.
Thank you.
It's charming. The magazine as a hotel implies, I think, to a reader, once they get it, that it's a place that can become a home. Every good hotel tries to
Yeah.
become a special home first for the guest, no matter how long you stay there, or how it might be one night, it could be a week, whatever. So it takes the idea of a magazine and does something special with it. Every magazine obviously needs a structure. So do you find that this structure opens the magazine up, or do you find that it gives you a sense of control in terms of what's going in there?
I need to have control of everything because my mind is too crazy, too attracted to many different things of culture, of course. So I need, for my approach, multidisciplinary approach, I need some rules to control it because without it, it's chaos. So I really love, I don't know if you know about it. You remember the Oulipo? It was a literary movement in the 60s in France. So Italo Calvino, Raymond Queneau, Georges Perec were part of it. And they needed rules, very strict rules. They imposed themselves rules to write a poem without a vowel, a specific vowel, or they were crazy, totally crazy. But I think it was really fascinating, and it's all about meta narrative. So Orlando for me is my experiment of meta narration. For example, I put meta narration as the main theme of Orlando in the sixth issue. And in the editorial, I reinterpreted the 1001 Nights because it's the most meta narrative tale of everyone. So I think meta narration is for me very fascinating.
So are you the manager of the hotel, or are you the concierge?
I think I am the. Nice question. Because we have our lobby boy, so
Yeah.
he's very the front person. I am more, of course, behind the scenes. So maybe the manager. Yeah.
Okay, so right now it's like a two-level thing. You have the publishing company, Tessore, and you have the magazine. The website said Tessore's purpose is to produce large format illustrated books, art, photography, illustration, to match the power of art with contemporary literature and poetry, which sounds great, but it's so big. So is that the magazine in larger form? Like, what's the relationship between the two?
I think Orlando is the first main project I wanted to fill with all my purposes and all my intentions and all my passions, of course. And the next level will be produce actual art books. So I want to go further and produce, illustration books or art books.
We'll be right back.
Hi, this is Jeremy Leslie at Mag Culture. We're proud to support The Full Bleed because we love magazines too. Visit magculture.com and see why print is far from over. It's just getting started. Read the journal for interviews and reviews, listen to our podcasts, visit our shop in London and online, and come to our live events in London and New York. We love magazines. Subscribe to our newsletter for weekly updates, all at magculture.com.
Print is Dead is made possible by the support of the Society of Publication Designers. The SPD powers the future of visual storytelling, setting the standard for editorial excellence and shaping the future of visual culture. For more information, visit spd.org.
So it feels like a larger business, or will become one. You run a creative studio, you have the Athenaeum, which is talks, you have events, you have wanderings, you have a boutique, and it's really such a great boutique. It's very Italian. You even have a Spotify playlist matched to every issue, and it all feels, again, because of the hotel, it would feel natural anyway, but with the hotel, it feels normal that you would have talks and wanderings. You've done that. You did that educational thing in a chocolate factory. Aesthetically, they're all connected, but what about editorially? Like, how does that all fit?
I think all these different projects are conceived to be the publishing company. For now, at our times, I think being a publisher is not as it was in the past. I think now you have to do many different actions to maintain your activity, and not just counting on the sales of the magazine, of course, because it would be impossible. So I conceived all these different parts in different times. I didn't have in mind all of this in the beginning. So now, for example, I'm working on launching a new course of the Orlando Athenaeum in wallpaper design. And we already launched last year a course on music for media with the composer Stefano Fasce. My grandfather was really into this, but I would love to convey this message that culture is freedom and living of culture is wonderful. So difficult but wonderful, and all these different aspects. So between one issue and another, we did these pop-up stores in Milan or in Rome. Once was inspired by Alice in Wonderland. For our fourth issue, we hosted the Mad Tea Party, and the other one in Rome was inspired by 1001 Nights. It's always important to connect with our readers also in person and not only through paper. Also during art fairs, we attended Mag to Mag, organized by Anna Frabotta, the guru of Italian indie magazine. And it was really important to connect with people and explain how you structure all of this.
So, deciding to publish, there's two decisions you made. One is there's no advertising, and two, deciding to publish in English. Why did you decide to publish in English?
Because I need to be more international. Genoa is not a small city, because I think it's the third or fourth one in Italy for population, but it's very small in mindset. So I really needed to open up my perspectives, and I wanted to communicate with all the world. So also the artists I interview are from all around the world. So I needed this perspective, open perspective. And so I chose English for this. And I have no advertising because I think Orlando is my manifesto. So I didn't want to have any interference in what I say, or maybe what I should put in an issue.
Yeah, you didn't want that pressure from other brands. Although I imagine that there are brands, especially in Italy, which has a lot of brands that are very compatible with Orlando. I imagine that at a certain point, they're going to be, maybe they already have, started calling you and saying, we would like to do something with you, and yet Orlando remains ad-free. Have you had to say no to them, or have you had discussions, or?
I had discussions with them, and I think now that I've made already 6 issues, Orlando is Orlando. It's people knows how we perceive things, how we want to communicate our culture and our point of view. Even if in future we are going to have, it will not change anything in our concept. It will be just add a page for a nice brand. Maybe we are going to share nice aesthetics or whatever. I would love also to collaborate with the fashion brands or other partners, but maybe to do a specific project for them, not Orlando. So I think I would prefer to collaborate with the fashion or hotels also, because I'm looking at that direction, of course, for the future, but for other experimentary, other projects. Yes.
I understand. It would be like a really nice hotel suddenly opening up to a chain restaurant or something, or even a good chain restaurant, but just someone else's restaurant as opposed to your own. And it would have to be absolutely perfect without it. I was thinking that this magazine feels like what Wes Anderson would do if he were Italian.
I know.
It's a very universal magazine, but it's also very Italian. Like, it's distinctly an Italian magazine, but just thinking about your first cover, you had Queen Elizabeth on it. And, what a statement, this coming from this magazine called Orlando from Italy in English, and Queen Elizabeth's on the cover. What was this reaction to that first issue? You're a small magazine, so I won't say it exploded and touched everything, but people who notice these things, that was quite a statement. And it was big and thick and overflowing with art. What was the reaction to that first one?
I think in Italy, but internationally, it was a good reaction because some told me that they thought it was English, not Italian, because of the style or something in the graphics. I think the Queen was a right choice because the painter who did this last picture of the Queen is a phenomenal artist, Spanish, British, and I thought it was the right statement, really instinctive. So I'm not focused with what could sell more. I know that cover is right because I feel it. So not very the commercial side, but my instinct with my perception said it was the right choice. And I think the Italian newspapers noticed this, and Vanity Fair in Italia straight away wrote to me and to do an article about Orlando. So it was a nice reception.
So how does the magazine work between you, because you're obviously very involved? All magazines are collaborations. We all know that. But this one, you came into this with such an idea, and then you have an editor-in-chief who runs the magazine, and then you have this art director who's obviously very important. How does that whole thing work?
I had the fortune to have Flavia, who is the editor-in-chief, who embraced totally my project because I'm not a registered member of a journalist, so I could not have been the editor-in-chief of my own project, but she totally got the idea, the concept, and she loved it immediately. She trusts me a lot. So basically, I proposed to her everything's on my mind, and we together we set the editorial plan. We commission all the articles to the collaborators and the freelance. So I think, yeah, Flavia is the mind who helped me to realize my dream, and then together we work with the other collaborators.
So she's creating the structure in many ways. There's this bigger structure, obviously, of the rooms, but she's taking your ideas and your vision and actually applying a certain amount of structure to them.
Yeah. Yes.
Because it just feels that you're allowing your imagination to do a lot of things. At some point, someone has to say, okay, we have to make a magazine now.
Yeah. Yeah. No, I think I'm becoming a bit better with all the chaos I have in my mind. So I'm trying.
So this magazine is it's a complete worldview. You can see it from, especially one is one, but then you start seeing them, and I've seen all of them now, and it's really quite consistent, which is a strange word to use for this magazine. And I say this because I was trying to figure out what Orlando was as a magazine. It's obviously a cultural magazine. That's obvious. But it almost feels like a statement of intent or worldview, except the view is not political, but it's aesthetic. It's an aesthetic worldview, and it's an openness to, it's almost spiritual, I would say. Aesthetically spiritual or culturally spiritual. And on top of all that, it's, even though it's not showcasing Italy, it is a showcase, I think, of a very particular worldview that is universal. Look, the world has taken a lot from Italy. Italy's given a lot to the world, we can say it that way. And then on a personal level, it's a showcase of your tastes, which are vast. Did I get it right?
Yeah, completely. I could not say more better than you did, but thank you. I think my aesthetics tries to be spiritual, as you said, because the beauty of little things is how you can capture the moment. The time is fleeting and the beauty is instant, and I try to capture it with my single issue of Orlando, and you can see the spiritual part of it. Yes. But thank you for the beautiful words. But you also appreciate the literary voyage, I remember.
Yeah. I'm a writer and I've made magazines too, so I just know how difficult it is. But also trying to convey, as an editor in chief, what's in your head to your team to get it right. And I know that when I was doing a monthly, it was some months you didn't get it and some months you did. And I think the advantage of not doing a monthly or a weekly or whatever, and more magazines are finding this out, is that you have the time to get it right. So you do 4 issues a year, you do 2 issues a year. You have the opportunity to actually get your vision on paper.
Yeah.
Or more of an opportunity to get your vision on paper.
Yeah, exactly. And I think my true manifesto, as you were saying before, are really my editorials. And these fashion editorials become also short art movies. So we really pay attention to the most smallest detail.
So who are your readers?
Curious people, fascinated by, I think everyone was in love with beauty and culture. So graphic design, illustrators, photographers, very the creative people. So we are a strong community, I think.
And where are they?
All over the world. Yeah.
So you don't
No.
over-index in Italy, you're
No.
international. What have you learned about making magazines that you really had no idea about before?
I think the boring part, the registering, the tribunal, all these things, but also to the funnest part. So to play with the other collaborators, to try to convey all the same message, but through different minds. I have my approach, the graphic designers, his, and the freelance writers, another one. So it's exciting to exchange all these different points of view, but to convey only the same message.
So what's next? Orlando, just given its structure, is going to grow in, I think, unique ways. Your publishing company will grow. What's the next step?
At the moment, I am working on developing collaboration with luxury hospitality, as I mentioned before, and the fashion brands, because I feel that my multidisciplinary vision aligns well with these words, and because we share the same attention to detail and sense of care. And I intend to return to print an issue soon, and I would also love to start publishing art books. So these are the steps.
What's your favorite hotel?
Difficult.
I had to ask.
Yeah, you're right. So you're totally right. So Rosewood, it's great. And I went in Venice, but I have to remind the name. So I will try to remind the name, but it was incredible, close to Piazza San Marco. Oh gosh, I don't remember the name, but I will tell you. They had both Rosewood and this one attention to every detail, the furniture, the everything.
And aesthetically, what is your favorite thing? What do you think is the most beautiful thing in the world?
Aesthetically.
Yeah.
I think theaters would be my first reply. So the classic architecture of theaters. We have in Italy La Scala in Milan or Teatro San Carlo in Naples. So I think these two theaters are maybe one of the most beautiful architecture in the world. Yes.
That was a satisfying answer. It was an unfair question and you answered it very well.
Yeah, because it's very difficult for me, of course.
I know. It's an impossible question, actually.
Yeah.
And tomorrow you might answer it completely differently.
Yeah, of course.
We always end these with a question about your favorite magazines. So what are your three favorite magazines right now?
I think I love Blumenhaus magazines. They are French and they have a really nice aesthetics, very refined. Cabana, of course, I love it for the interiors. And Tonic Magazine, I love the founders because we always share the desk in fairs, and I love chat with them.
Great. Well, thank you, Antonella. This has been a great conversation.
Thank you, Arjun. Thank you so much.
This has been The Full Bleed, a podcast about the future of magazines and the magazines of the future, and a production of Magazeum LLC. This episode was produced by Patrick Mitchell. The theme music was composed and played by Jason Camelot. If you'd like to comment on this show, send an email to hello@magazeum.co or visit our website at magazeum.co, where you can read transcripts of all of our interviews from all of our podcasts, along with portfolios, archival photos, links, and more. You can also tell us about the mags you miss. Just fill out the form on the website. Once a month, we'll select the name of a lucky person, and they could win some fine swag. Speaking of which, we have a swag shop. My name is Arjun Basu. Thanks for listening.